Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and my sisters. It is Brother Solis live with another episode of Coffee and the Truth. And I got my brother, which we found out we got the same mother, Brother Tanner Lopez.
What's up?
And he brought a sidekick with a few tricks, Mr. Elliot Staines.
Hello.
All right, guys. Me and Tanner don't got the same mom, okay? Just joking around here. But on this podcast, our goal is to help young individuals who are either struggling or battling, whatever you want to classify it as, just get ahead, I guess you can say. We want to edify, we want to encourage, and we want to help strengthen young people. And if you're an older adult, if it helps you, let it help you too. But we want to help get ahead. So we talk about issues and topics that we have fought ourselves or that we are fighting and going through ourselves, and we just want to let people know you're not alone. Because oftentimes you believe the lie that you're alone and you're the only one that deals with this, until you start talking and being open with other people and you realize, man, there's way more people fighting this, not just myself. And one of the topics that we want to talk about today that I feel that sets a lot of us back, a lot, like really, really sets us back, and that is forgiveness. Now, from a young person's perspective, when you hear the word forgiveness, Tanner, what do you think?
I think of coming to peace with your past and coming to peace with other people and people in the present.
I like that, coming to peace with your past and people. I like that. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that when you said that is a mouthful in itself. And Brother Elliot, what do you think when you hear forgiveness? What is it that comes to your mind?
Released weights that were bringing you down.
Released weights. Wow. And forgiveness, as Brother Tanner said, I mean, I want to go in there. I just didn't want to jump ahead of Elliot and cut off Elliot. I wanted to hear his opinion about forgiveness. But most of the time we can't forgive because we have been hurt or neglected by other people. Would you say that is right, Tanner? Or
Yeah, that's right. Most unforgiveness and most bitterness roots from trauma or pain from other people.
So I like the way that you put those two together, because do you believe that unforgiveness would ultimately lead to bitterness?
Oh, yeah. I agree, because it happened to me. And, I didn't forget people, friends who, after I got in the church, left me. And I got bitter towards them. And I didn't take it to God because I thought it wasn't a big problem. I didn't think it was a big issue because they're my friends from the world. So they didn't really seem that important at that moment. But I let it grow and fester for a while, and it turned into bitterness and a lot of just anger and wrath. And I didn't know why I felt so angry, and I was always in a bad mood until the Lord showed me.
And it all started with unforgiveness, right?
Yeah.
You would say.
Yeah.
And it's really good that you mentioned that, because I always tell my young people, and they're probably going to get tired of me saying it, but misery loves company. And so what is unforgiveness today will be bitterness tomorrow. And then what's bitterness tomorrow, the next day, and after that is depression, anxiety, doubt, unbelief. It just comes in. And it doesn't happen. I was talking to your sister today, and I was telling her, it doesn't happen big, because if it was a big deal, then we will know, okay, boom, I'm being attacked. But it slowly and slowly and slowly happens. And next thing you know, like you said, now we're constantly angry. And now we're constantly worried. And now we're depressed. And now we're having doubts within ourselves and who we are. And it just rooted from unforgiveness. So, Brother Elliot, you mentioned weights. And so for the listener that's kind of wondering why you would go down that route, what do you mean by weights?
Weights that weigh you down spiritually and physically. Spiritually because of hurt you carried for so long that then hurt you physically because you have not dealt with them in the spiritual.
And so I see what you're saying there, because the Bible does tell us that we need to lay aside every sin or every weight and sin that so easily besets us, throws us off course. And so what he's saying here is, though it may not be a sin and though you may not feel like it's a sin, it's still going to throw you off course because it is weighing you down. I remember when I got baptized, man, I had came down the stairs and I felt like I was walking on air, dude. Like, I don't know, y'all experienced it.
Yeah, I felt the same thing.
But I can see how much of unforgiveness that I had, that Christ had forgiven me. And so when I came down, I for real, I felt like I was 50 pounds lighter. Like I was gliding, dude. I wasn't walking, I was gliding. And that's what that's what I think about when you say that, about weights. And then since I didn't deal with this spiritually, don't you ever think or believe the lie that it's not going to affect you physically. It will affect you physically, because I got something lodged inside of me, I'm not able to approach people the same way that I would if I didn't have something hidden within me. It's kind of like a push button, that triggers you, as we were talking about insecurity, right? So somebody was to come and, they're seriously just joking around, but they joke around with something that hits my insecurity. Don't you think I'm either going to get offended or angry? And so it's like a button. And so when I have this unforgiveness residing in me, and I've been harboring it, and I've been, kind of allowing it to be cozy and get cozy. As I said, it turns into bitterness, and you don't think that's going to affect other people around me. So of course it starts messing with me physically, because soon it will start adding stress in your life. And they even say stress leads to heart attacks and things of this nature. So definitely don't think that unforgiveness is not going to affect you physically, that it's only a spiritual thing. So when we do talk about forgiveness, the question I would ask both of y'all, what is forgiveness?
Forgiveness is letting things go, letting grudges go, letting people who hurt you in the past just go and letting it loosing it.
And you, Brother Elliot?
Putting the past behind you, in the present in front of you. Letting, like Tanner said, letting go of things.
Now, I did some things when I was a teenager that allowed me to end up being incarcerated. I was in jail, okay? I tried to use a fancy word, but I couldn't get it out. I was in jail, went to jail, and I can honestly say I don't think I ever met somebody that loves being in jail, though we can sit there and say, well, their actions are saying it because they keep breaking the law. Some people just don't know better, or don't know how to handle certain situations, and so they just go back into handling it the way that they think is best, and they end up there. Whatever the case is, okay? I'm not here to justify anything. I just want to talk about when I see forgiveness. When I look at that, at forgiveness, that's what I see, is that I am locking somebody up in a cage. And until I can forgive, that cage will never be open. And the only person that's inside of that cage is me. Because I'm limiting myself. I cannot go forward in my life because I am locking myself up in unforgiveness. Life has its ways of exposing things in your heart. Jeremiah tells us the heart is deceitful above all things, and who can know it? And I thank God that he gives us the grace and the mercy to experience things in our life so that we can get them out of us so we can move ahead. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus just saying, you know what? Now baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost, great, good. Y'all got it. Y'all figure it out. But he's there. He's there with us. And I'll talk about this because, and y'all would, for the most part, going to hear me talk about my relationship with my father. Like I said, it took me a long time after he was dead to let go of him. And a lot of that had to be there's no other word for it. It was unforgiveness. I couldn't forgive him, even though I thought, for real, I can honestly tell y'all, honest to God, I thought I forgave him. I thought when I got the Holy Ghost and when I got baptized, I thought I left all that behind me, bro. I seriously did. And then insecurity, like I said, I battled insecurity. And it was the effect of somebody offending me and then telling me, you know what, they apologize and tell me, well, I notice every time you bring up your dad. And where do you think that insecurity rooted from?
Unforgiveness.
You're absolutely right. I said 3 months, I didn't talk to him before he passed away. And it was because he offended me and told me something that pushed me back and said, okay, whatever, you know what, I'm done trying to help this man. And so I thought I was doing the right thing at the time. And with all that time and that space just allowed for unforgiveness, what I did is I tilled the ground of my heart and I allowed the seed of unforgiveness to be planted in my heart. And over the seasons, I kept watering it and I fed it until it finally started rooting, and then it started producing fruits. And one of those fruits was insecurity. Like I said, misery loves company, and I didn't know that. I didn't see it until now, and that's why I said I thank God for the mercy and the grace that he has given me and he has given us. So most of the time, forgiveness is a really hard topic to talk about. Because let's be real, some of us have been hurt by people and we're ashamed to talk about it. People have hurt us tremendously. And it's hard for us to let those people go. I don't know if you ever experienced that.
Yeah. So there was a family member who hurt me a couple of years ago. I'm not going to go too much into detail with this, but there was a family member who hurt me, and I let it become a part of me because I didn't forgive them. And I just let it sit inside of my spirit, and I let it just brew. I didn't forgive that person. I didn't talk to that person. I let it sit there and fester.
Do you feel that forgiveness was a choice? Like, you could have chose to forgive them, but I told y'all, you know, y'all my youth, so y'all know how I told y'all about victimhood. Being a victim comes with benefits. So do you feel the reason why you didn't want to let that person go is because you didn't necessarily want to deal with the reality of having to move on? Because really and truly, I don't have to move on as long as I have something to blame of why I can't move forward. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think that I didn't want to move on because it is hard to move on. It's hard to sit there and forgive and move on. And this was revealed to me only a couple of weeks ago, and I just got over this. Like you said before, like I thought I forgave him, but I did not. And the Lord had to reveal that to me. And so now, yeah, it's a choice to forgive.
So forgiveness is very much a choice. And it's a choice to not only let that person go. I know you'll hear us, oh, let go, let go. But it ultimately is to let yourself go.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is actually let yourself out of that prison, open up that door, and allow yourself to embrace life for what it is. So now I know we tend to, some of us are really good at forgiving people. I know individuals that can really like what do they say, like water on a duck.
Yeah, it rolls off.
It just rolls off of them. Yeah. And then you have some other people that can forgive other people, but they just cannot forgive themselves.
Okay.
And do you see that was an issue either in your life, or do you even think that's an issue that, oh, but brother, so at least that's only like 2% of people?
I think it's still an issue. It's still an issue in today, but in me, it's still an issue. It's still an issue, being hard on myself and not forgiving myself whenever I fall.
Brother Elliot, you ever had to deal with self-forgiveness?
Yeah. I guess if it would count, arguments that I would have with other people, and then they would forgive me, I would forgive them, but I truly did, or I didn't forgive myself. So I have dealt with that, and then I would be like, then I'd understand, God would help me understand, you need to forgive yourself.
Yeah, because especially like if you're around people and you're trying your best to show the love of Christ, let's be real. Jesus says, how will they know you? By the way that you love one another. And of course, whenever you got unforgiveness, it's hard for you to love somebody that's close to you. And when you do fall in there, you do beat yourself up. The easy forgiveness is God's forgiveness, right? I think that was very easy to embrace. But you often hear it if you spend any time in the church or trying to get people to come to church. You often will hear, man, God can't forgive me. That is not them saying that there's no power in God. That's them saying, without really saying it, is I can't forgive myself. I can't let that go. Of course, y'all preached this a couple of weeks back. Title of the message was called Crown Me, or King Me, sorry. And it was about David's downfall when he fell into adultery with Bathsheba. And, the biggest victory was him forgiving himself. First of all, we know what the Bible called him. We know that God found him because he was a guy after God's own heart. And can you just imagine that pressure that he had to feel when he fell, when the prophet would tell him, you are that man? David was furious. Remember, he said, kill that man, and make him pay back that poor guy. And the prophet says, you are that man. How do you think that made him feel?
Not good.
That made, and now I'm just assuming here because I don't know. I don't think the Bible goes in very much details about his feelings. But if I was there, I failed you. I failed you at something that I knew I was better than. And so we see how David, whenever the child passes, he gets back up and go worship God, right? We see that. But what we don't really see is how David had to forgive himself in order to get back up. And I believe David forgave himself. Why? Because he never did it again. That was the only account of him ever doing that, and he did not do it again. And ultimately, we know that is Solomon, King Solomon, the book of Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. That comes from that woman and David. But David had to overcome some things, and because of both of them, it wasn't just on David. Bathsheba had to overcome that too. And here they raised a son that, gave us two great books. If you really read both of them, they're really great books, and they give you some great understanding. But if you can look at Solomon and all his wisdom, but his wisdom would have never been if it wasn't for his parents forgiving themselves, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And we have to, like I said, the Christ's forgiveness, we can comprehend that. And we often might say, oh man, I don't know, how God can forgive. We're not saying that as in saying that, oh man, God, he absolutely can't. We're just saying like, man, because we always line ourselves up with humans. Like, if somebody abused me so many years, I don't know if I can stay around. I don't know if they can forgive. And that's what I'm saying. It's easy for us to comprehend God's love. It's easy for us to say, you know what, he chose the cross. He was whipped, he was mocked, he was all this for us, and he forgave us. But whenever it comes to us, whenever I was hurt, and when people neglected me, and people took advantage of me, and to be honest with you, listener, yeah, I've been hurt in life, but I can't tell you that I was neglected by others that I love, that were supposed to love me. And I can't tell you how it feels to be hurt by those people because of what they did to me. And I'm not trying to put on a front and try to act like I do, because I don't. And even if I did, to be honest with you, I can't help you. I can't help you. I had to find Christ to get my ultimate help that I needed in life. I had to find Christ to fill that void. And so I know we try to look for people to relate to, but there's probably not going to be a person that has that same story as you do. But that doesn't mean that's all hope is gone. Christ had suffered these things, and he knows how it feels to be abused, and he knows how it feels to be hurt by people he loved and people that were supposed to love them. It's kind of like a doctor coming in and giving me medicine because I'm ill and I'm sick, and he's here to help me, and I just start abusing him, and I start hurting him and calling him names and things of this nature. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to, what is going on? I'm here to help you. And that's what happened with Christ. Christ was coming to help us. We were sick, and we were lost, and we were dying people without him. And we're the same ones that would crucify him. And his emotions, we often don't talk about, right? Because he's so much on this pedestal that we can't reach him. But if you read, the Bible even says that he's able to help us because he was first tempted. When I first tempted, he was tempted just like me and you. He suffered abuse just like me and you. He suffered hurt by people he loved, just like you are. But as they put him on the cross, after they mocked him and after they beat him beyond recognition and would make him carry this cross, and then they'll nail him to this cross and hang him up to be a curse was the custom. Anything that hangs on a tree. And that's what they'll put him on. And then they will still make fun of him. And what was his words, Brother Tanner?
Forgive them.
Forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's what I'm saying. I probably can't help you. Brother Tanner probably can't help you. We can probably relate to you. And like I said, we're just trying to assist you. And we're trying to encourage you. But at the end of the day, our target here is to help you to find out that your answers and your help and your hope is going to be found in Jesus Christ. There's no other way around it. That peace that you talked about with forgiveness, why do you think Jesus was able to rise up again from the grave and still pass out hope? Do you think that he was going to be able to pass out hope if he still held on to unforgiveness?
Nope.
What was he going to pass out? Bitterness. Hate people. Go kill them. Take revenge on them. Because look at what they did to me. But he didn't. He came with forgiveness, which ultimately you read in the Bible, even his disciples and apostles, they would practice forgiveness. Stephen getting stoned, what did he say? Don't let this be on them. They don't know what they're doing. Where do you think he got that from? He had to get that from somebody who experienced and knows personally how to forgive someone. So do any of y'all got some insight, or y'all want to insert something before we finish this podcast up?
Yeah. So forgiving isn't easy. It's not easy to lay down, grudges or any scars that people have left you with. But I would like to encourage you and let you know that it is so much better on the other side of forgiveness, on actually forgiving and moving on and letting it go. Because once you let it go, there is a new freedom. It feels like you can breathe again. It feels like you have a rejuvenation in your life. So I encourage you to follow Christ, seek the Lord, and let it go.
And I want to leave you on this note with free yourself. Free yourself. Free yourself. I say that with caring and compassion, because that's ultimately what you're going to do whenever you do choose that. Whenever I finally got to bury my dad, I finally was able to bury him. Not only did I let myself out of a prison, but I finally let him out of a prison. I was finally able to give the same forgiveness to somebody that was given to me. And that's what I mean about freeing yourself. But ultimately get to the point, and like you said, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a process. There's going to be some hard days and there's going to be so much hurt. But you got to know why, especially if, there's so many things that you feel God is calling you to do. You're not going to be able to accomplish them with confidence, because you're going to be held down by weights, as you were saying, Brother Elliot. Free yourself and get to the point where you can free them so they can experience the same forgiveness that me and you get to lift up our hands and tell Jesus thank you for. Well, folks, coffee's running low, so I got to go. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Brother Solis is out.